Welcome back to Trailhead Talks. I'm Serena Anderson, and we're in our next segment. We're going to be talking about the community. And this is actually very fitting for this segment. This is called Artpace, and it's a community-driven initiative, and I am super excited to introduce to you our lovely guest who's going to share all of the details about the beginnings and where we're at now and where it's going to the future. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
You're super duper welcome. So, Artpace.
Yes.
Wow, what a cool name.
Yes, it is. I mean, it basically says it all. It's a space for art. And our local mantra for it is art lives here.
Art lives here. Mm-hmm. Cool. So well, let's start first. Is this going on in other parts of the country?
It is. Artpace, the parent organization, is based out of Minneapolis.
Okay.
And they're a developer that goes into different communities all over the country and helps develop live workspaces for artists.
Awesome.
And when I say artists, it can be any medium. It can be sculpting, musicians,
wow,
painting, dancing, performance, writing.
Wow.
Yeah, basically any creative outlet that can be deemed art. So
that is super cool. And then in 2009, you were saying that the Downtown Association was a part of getting this going?
They initially in 2009 paid for Artpace to come to Billings and do a market study and a feasibility study to see if Billings would be a good place to develop an Artpace project. And what they found was that Billings would be a great place and that it could support 43 live work units, which that was in 2009, and you and I both know there's been a lot of growth since then, so I'm sure the need is probably a bit bigger than that now. So
yeah. So these units are like apartments/studios?
Yep, they're apartments. They have, they can have studio spaces for, if a sculptor wants to have an area in the apartment where he can do his work. But the most important thing about them is they're affordable.
Wow.
So, and it is not it's not a nonprofit. It is a tax-producing entity.
Okay.
That's one thing that we've been asked quite a bit. It does become self-sustaining once it's completed. And typically along with the resident units, there's also a community space that the residents can open up and invite the community in.
Wow.
We've seen other places across the country do either dance recitals for, local dance classes that need a place to go. The possibilities are really endless. So, and then there's also a commercial entity where basically keeping some storefront opportunities for creative businesles.
Wow, that's incredible. So where is it at now? What's the next milestone?
What we're doing right now, I'll back up just a bit. In 2009, it was kind of a push for it, and then the library came on board. And I wasn't involved back then. I wasn't even living in Billings at the time, but the people that were here supporting it, they saw the community was really rallying for this library. They didn't want to have, too much competition. They also supported the library. So the people at that time, volunteers, kind of stepped back and said, yeah, we'll seek this out in a couple years. And so early last year, a small group of us got together and started basically trying to rev up the project again. And as we move forward, in order for us to have Artpace become engaged and to help develop the project, we'll need to raise $150,000 and also have a local government entity support us. So that is the goal right now. We're kind of in the outreach stages, just trying to spread the word, let people know what Artpace is. We were out at the last art walk and had amazing feedback. So many artists in the community were everyone's been so excited to hear about it. And so we are going to be consistently out at art walks talking to people and just spreading the word. Catherine Louisa Gallery is one location that we are going to have one of our volunteers basically set up so that people can come and ask questions, find out more information. And then also Heartstrings Gallery. Both of those locations have been a huge supporter And then we've also got the Clark Martin Studio.
Great.
Is a big supporter, and we are planning an event there in March. So
That's
possibly a wine auction event.
Hey.
So that, details to come on that.
That's awesome. So how do they figure out where they are going to put these units?
Well, initially when the feasibility study was done back in 2009, they identified some different buildings in Billings that could be potentials, for the size that they needed. And some communities prefer to find a building that's in need of renovation.
Yeah.
Sometimes in an area of town that may need some new life put into it, and they go in and renovate that, and it creates a new central hub of life and creativity, and just kind of helps lift up the area around it.
Yeah.
Other communities have also developed brand new construction, but I think from what we've heard that there's probably some good building and potential in town that we could hopefully find something in town to renovate and bring new life to.
There's already building names in my mind going off. I'm like, my gosh.
Oh yeah, I drive down the street downtown all the time. What about that building? Maybe that building. So
that would be great to have some
Yes.
more creative influence in the Billings area.
Well, unfortunately, the YAM has done a wonderful job of supporting and keeping art within the community. They've done an awesome job, and the folks with the Billings Art Walk have been awesome at getting exposure for the local artists and engaging the general public who might not otherwise go to art galleries on a regular basis. It gives them a great opportunity. So huge kudos to both of those organizations for keeping it alive. What we've heard a lot in talking to people is, unfortunately, there's been a lot of artists who leave Billings to go seek opportunities elsewhere. And we've had feedback that people have said, if there was an art space in Billings, I would totally move back.
Wow.
So we've heard that more than once. And it's one of those things that you go, well, maybe this is kind of a niche that Billings deserves.
That's great. What can the community do to help out, if any?
Well, the first thing would definitely be to find us on Facebook, Billings Art Space Project.
Okay.
And we post tons of information. We like to support other local artists and galleries and events that are going on. But we also do meet on the first Wednesday of every month, just to give the public a chance if they're curious. You don't have any pressure. You can just come listen and hear more information. And that's at Rock Creek.
Rock Creek, downtown.
Coffee Roasters, yep. Matt Pipinich has been a huge supporter as well. I know, he's awesome. So we do that first Wednesdays at 6 o'clock after the coffee shop closes, and he just keeps it open for us, and we hang out and talk about what we're going to be doing. We'd love to have, if people are interested, to volunteer or just help spread the word. We've got some events that we're getting ready to put together in the next couple months. So if people want to get involved that way, we've had artists at our events doing live paintings, and Ellen Kuntz photography. Ellen Kuntz has been huge. She just did a series called Art Lives Here for the Art Space Project, and she basically went out and photographed artists of all mediums doing what they do, and that's going to be used for marketing materials as we move forward with developing our website and producing some materials for handouts and information. So
very cool.
Thank
you so much for being on the show today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. You did awesome. Thanks so much for watching that part of the segment. Wow, how incredible, huh? I hope that maybe your heart kind of sings to you and you want to get involved. I think this is going to be tremendous for our community. We have our last guest coming up next, and we're going to be talking about an event coming up here in the next few weeks.